This is crazy. At that point, I didn't want to be with him, but I didn't want him to be with anybody else but me. Why do I keep saying this boy's name? Welcome back to my channel.
I'm making a change today. The liquor been taking the pain away. I heard you was giving your chain away. That's kind of like giving your fame away.
I do that in the beginning of literally every video. Today's video is going to be a story time. Y'all, we hit 100 subscribers. Let me show y'all real quick. Thank y'all so much. I hope y'all are enjoying the content. Like, we have so much more to come. I have a part 2 of the story time. I really can break this story time down into like multiple parts for real. It's a lot to talk about though. Okay, y'all. So I left off in the last video. I was talking about how Kevin was talking to this other girl. I actually never gave her a name in the last video, but her name is gonna be a lady, like, because that's all she really was a lady. Kevin was talking to Lady and they were talking about Lady being pregnant and who she think the daddy is. The actual lady, they were on the phone, I was on three-way, and he was like, okay, so do you think that I could possibly be the father? And she said yes. Y'all, when she said yes, I was just like, I was on go, like honestly, like I was on 10. I was like, wow, like this is crazy. Like it don't take that long to make a baby, and you the only one that she said that she's been sleeping with. So like you are really foul for doing that to me, because I would never do that to you. Well, one, because I don't like girls, and two, because I'm just loyal. Like I would never do that to him. But I was like, I'll never talk to you again. Literally, like I went off with him. I left the phone call actually, and he hung up on her and called me, and he was trying to calm me down and was like, oh, like it's no way that I'm this lady's dad, this and the third. And I was like, you know what, I don't even want to talk to you. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to listen to you. Like, just get off my phone. I literally did not talk to him for the longest time. But we had ended up talking like a couple days later, and after the situation calmed down, he saw me in school and he kept trying to like talk to me. He would text me like while we were in class and be like, oh, come, like, do you want cookies? Like, do you want this? Do you want anything? And I would be like, no, like, I don't really want anything from you at all. Like, it was, yes, I wanted some cookies, but I didn't want them from him. Like, I didn't want him to feel like he had, you know, to do anything for me, because I was just very, you know, like, get away from me. After those couple of days, after all the emotions cooled down and whatnot, we were just two people just living life. Like it was literally like 4 or 5 days later, but I was so off of it at that point. Like I didn't care. I was just, you know, being myself, and I would still get texts from him though. Like he would text me in the morning and be like, good morning, have a good day at school, or be like, good morning, see you later. Or when he saw me in school, he would be like, you look good, like come to the bathroom. Like I would be like, okay, like this. I noticed that he's still trying to get my attention. I appreciate the fact that he's trying to get my attention, but I don't want to talk to you because you apparently this girl's baby daddy. One day we were in school, it was a Friday, he texted my phone and he said, hey, I need to talk to you because something just happened. And I was like what's going on, what just happened? And he said, can you come out of your class? And I was like, no, like, Kevin, I do not want to talk to you at all. Like, I was like, text it, like, let me know what happened. If there's like an emergency, then let me know, because he made it seem like it was an emergency. And I was like, oh, like, what's wrong? Like, let me know what's up. Because at that point, I didn't want to be with him, but I didn't want him to be with anybody else but me. So I was like, this is still kind of my man, but not right now. He was like, just like, let me know when you can come out of class. And I was like, okay. I texted him after that period had actually ended. I was like, hey, I can leave class or whatever, like what's going on? He was like, can you meet me in the bathroom by the gym? And I was like, sure. So I met him in the bathroom by the gym, and this was after all of our lunches. Like we had 3 lunches at this point. It was A, B, and C, but this was after C lunch, so it was like 4th period, and nobody was actually down by the bathrooms in our school except for people who had gym, but they had already changed. So I was like, yeah. So we got in the bathroom and he was just talking to me like he wanted to give me a hug. I was like, no, I don't want to touch you. Like, get away from me. Let me know what the information is so that I can know, and then we can literally go our separate ways. He tells me that he don't think that he the baby daddy because his friend was actually having sex with lady, and he thinks that his friend might be the baby daddy instead of him.
That's suspicious.
Okay, so it's known that everybody think that you are her baby daddy because at this point they were still in the hallway together, be all cuddly. They were always talking in the hallway, like everybody noticed it. And when my friends saw it, they was like, that's weird. I was like, you know, it is what it is. A couple of days later, he told her. She was like, okay, well, maybe he might be the dad. And he was like, okay, so you need to stop like telling people that I'm the dad. But that put a big strain on their friendship at that point because they had been friends for longer than me and him had been talking. So she was already getting suspicious at the fact that I was the one that was giving him like not like bugs in his ear, but I was like, okay, you need to go do this, like you need to go do that. And lady was getting mad with me because she was like, why are you always listening to him? Like, why can't you just defend yourself, like, you know? And she had the right to feel that way, honestly, because I would feel the same way. I would be like, why can he not, you know, let me know? Why is he letting somebody else know? That has nothing to do with you. Like, at the end of the day, like, lady, you mind your business to find out who the daddy of your child is, because that's how I would, like, that's how I was my freshman year. Like, I was so rude and like just mean. Don't worry about me because I don't gotta find my baby daddy. That's not, you know, that's none of my business. They were really just like stressing me like really, really bad. She was like, oh, well, if you want to be with him, just say that. And I was like, what are you even talking about? Because, I mean, it was obvious that I liked boys, but she didn't know that me and him were already, you know, like fondling with each other. But she was like, if you want him, just say that. And I was like, girl, I don't want him. Even though I know I wanted him, but I didn't want to just tell his business and be like, oh, yeah, I want him, but you need to let him go so I can have him. I was like, you know, that's nothing to do with me. So after that whole situation got, you know, handled, the situation ended. It was just, I mean, I didn't talk to her, she didn't talk to him, he didn't talk to her, and me and him were still talking, and she was talking more to his friend who she thought at that point was the actual baby daddy. A couple of months go by, me and Kevin, we are doing good. It is around February or March, and it was a week or two before our spring break. So this is, I guess you could say, where we officially started talking. I noticed that every time I got on the bus to go home, because at this point I was riding the bus for about a month or so, every time that I would get on the bus, I would notice that I would get looked from this one girl. This one girl, she would always just like look at me nasty. Like, I would be like, wow, like what did I do to her? Like, I don't know this girl at all. I told Kevin, and I was like, Kevin, like, why is this girl looking at me like this? Like, did I do anything? Like, do you know her? Like, do you know if she don't like me or something like that? Because at this point, me and Kevin, we were fondling more with each other, but we were being more seen with it. Like, we would see each other and he would be looking at me, and then he would go in the bathroom and I would go in the bathroom behind him. Or I would go in the bathroom and he would go in the bathroom behind me. Or you would, like, people would see me and him in between classes together. Like, when class started and the bell rung, everybody went to their class, and then like 10 or 15 minutes later, he would come out and I would come out, and we would just walk around, talk for like 15 minutes, and then go back to class. Like, that's how we would always see each other. Like, it was every single day, like every single period, every single day. We saw each other like one-on-one for at least an hour a day when we were, you know, when we were in class. And he would come to my lunch, I would go to his lunch. Like, I would literally skip half of my class to go to his lunch, which now looking back at it, I should not have done because I was being crazy for my man, but he was my man at this point. So I was like, you know, and I could tell that this was gonna go far. I was like, okay, I can tell, like, he's the type of person and I'm the type of person, we want long-term things. And our families, they both raised us to like long-term relationships. So I knew, and he knew, that we were gonna be talking, if not together, for a long, long time. In which we were. We talked for almost 4 years. He was like, I don't know what's like, I don't know why she doesn't like you. But I let it go. And a couple of days went by, and she actually was talking on the bus one day, and I was sitting by myself, and I actually heard what she was talking about.
Bang them out there whole time out today, a couple of hoings, come on.
She was like, oh, yeah, and that's the boy right there. Like, as soon as I got on the bus, no way that she's talking about me. So I kept listening, and she was like, I saw him and Kevin in the hallway today, they always together. I was like, oh, so she's definitely talking about me. So I called Kevin, and I was like, Kevin, listen to what this girl is saying. And he was like, okay. So I was just really quiet, and I had my AirPods in, and I was on the phone with him, so he was listening to what she was saying also. And he was saying in my ear, he was like cursing her out in my ear. He was like, what is she even fucking talking about? Like, you know, all this stuff, and made it seem like it was something more than when he was telling me. Like, because if it's not something serious, if you don't know this girl, why is she literally coming at me for just talking and being around you? Like, that's weird, right? Like, that's weird to me. I asked her, I was like, do you have a problem with me? Like, did I do something to you? And she was like, no, I don't got a problem with you. I got a problem with Kevin. And I was like, why do you have a problem with Kevin? And she was like, oh, that used to be my man. Like, we dated, and he just weird. He don't text me back no more. This, that, and the third. And I was like, oh, so this is the case of a jealous ex. Like, this is literally what this is. Like, she's a jealous ex. So when she got off the bus, I called Kevin back. I was like, Kevin, okay, so this girl just, you know, told me that she's your ex and whatnot, and she got a problem with you because you will talk to her or whatnot. I'm just, you know, the third person here. Like, and he was like, she's crazy, this, that, and the third. I haven't talked to this girl in like years. They were together before we actually got to high school, so he hadn't actually talked to her since like 2018 or something like that, when they were in middle school together. And I was like, oh, okay, like, that makes sense or whatnot. And he was actually taking messages right now. I promise you I'm not talking to this girl. And I was like, I was calm about it. He thought I was being calm and nonchalant, like I was just saying okay, and like in the back of my mind I knew that I was not okay. But I was actually nonchalant about it until the fact that she kept going with the situation.
Again and again and again.
About 3 days later, the first day that it happened, I called Kevin. I was like, you know, like, everything's cool. And I was like, so what's going on with, you know, this girl? And at this point, I'm talking about Lady, the one that is pregnant, apparently. So he told me that Lady didn't know who the father was, and she went to get a paternity test, and it wasn't his baby. So, but she also got an abortion.
I'm done. Set it out.
The baby is no longer a playing factor in, you know, anything, because the baby's gone. He was like, she let it go, we ain't talked in a minute, and you know, it is what it is. And I was like, okay, Tay-Tay, that's gonna be her name. I was like, what about Tay-Tay, the one that I ride the bus with? And Kevin told me, he was like, you know, Tay-Tay is just, she's crazy, she's delusional. And when guys say that, either they're being for real, like that girl is crazy, she's delusional, or, you know, they're just saying that because it's more than what he's trying to tell me, and she knows more. So I was like, okay, so like, what do you mean she's delusional? Like, how is she delusional? Shows me messages, FaceTime calls, like text, everything, talking about me and him. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, like, what did I do to this girl to make her not like me? But little did I know, Lady was going back telling Tay-Tay information. She was telling Tay-Tay that me and Kevin were talking, holding hands, kissing. She caught us kissing in the bathroom live. She was feeding Tay-Tay these live, and Tay-Tay was reacting off of the lives that she had heard previously about me and Kevin. So I was like, you know, like, this is crazy.
I'm fucked up? Nah.
This is crazy. When I found out that information, that's what really put the icing on the cake for both of them, because that's when I went off on both of them.
Nigga, I'm fucking real.
But that's later down the line. Tay-Tay still, you know, she doing her thing. She talking on the bus, trying to be loud and extra at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, girl, like, don't nobody really got time for all that. If it was really a problem, you would let me know to my face, because at the end of the day, I'm with the guy that you want, that you're so pressed over. So why do I need to care? I got to school, I was talking to Kevin, and at this point, It is the last week before spring break. We started to walk around the building because at this point, classes were pretty much like winding down, and there was a couple of festivities going on. He was a very caring person. Like, he very much so cared about how I was doing mentally, how I was, you know, going along without, you know, all the extra stuff. Like, there would be times where I would be around him and he would be around his homeboys and he would still talk to me. Like, so it built my portfolio with my like different and friend groups and different people who I was cool with. Even though I would never hang around those guys by myself, I was still, you know, cool with them because of him. He was letting me know that spring break was coming up and he wanted to actually do something with me. And I was telling him, I was like, yeah, like we could definitely do something. That's no problem. You know, I have to get my schedule because I was getting paid every week, so schedules came out every week. So I had to get my schedule, you know, figure out what I was doing so that I could make time to actually be around him. After we talked, I went to get some cookies and I was downstairs and Kevin went upstairs to go to the bathroom. I got my cookies and I was going upstairs and I started to hear yelling. And it sounded like Kevin's voice. I was like, is Kevin like yelling at somebody? Like, what's going on? So I started going up the stairs and I look and I see Kevin and I see Tay and I also see Lady. And Lady and Tay were standing on one side and Kevin was standing right there at the top of the stairs about to come down, and they were all arguing. Lady and Tay were both yelling at Kevin. I was like, what's going on? And then Tay yelled and she was like, mind your fucking business. And I was like, who is she talking to? Like, what did I do to this girl to get her so pressed? And I looked at her, I was like,